Ever since I was a small child, I've gamed. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I've been playing since I was able to hold a controller. The medium didn't matter. Video games, board games, card games, even tabletop role-playing. They've all impacted my life in one way or another. However, for some reason, I felt different to those around me. It wasn't until later in life that I realized that I was bisexual. It may seem like this shouldn't be relevant, but my identity doesn't go away when I'm playing a game. For decades, games and gamers have struggled with the pitfalls of representation and acceptance in gaming spaces. While we're a lot further along now than we were previously, there have been a fair share of bumps along the way. The first instance of LGBTQ+ anything in gaming I can remember is Birdo from Mario, a male dinosaur pretending to be a woman. Not off to a great start, but let's keep going. Final Fight, in attempting to avoid controversy surrounding a female enemy, accidentally created one of the first trans icons in gaming. Western role-playing games such as Dragon Age and Fallout allowed for the player character to be whatever sexuality they wanted. It seemed as though the only characters that were allowed to have gay identities were the player characters and their paramours. When characters were written as LGBTQ+, it was seen as something to be either mocked or reviled. A scene depicting several muscle-bound men making unwanted advances on the male protagonist of Final Fantasy VII was played for laughs. A pair of incestuous twins in Deadrising 2 is meant to both shock and titillate the player. In Grand Theft Auto V, a game full of violent sociopaths, the most violent and sociopathic character just so happens to be the one that's attracted to other men, even alluding to sexually assaulting other men in prison. Fire Emblem Fates featured the drugging and curing of the homosexuality of one of its characters, which could be read as gay conversion therapy. Maybe I'm reading too deep into this, but it seemed for the longest time that gaming wasn't ready to have an LGBTQ+ character without punishing or mocking them. Over time, as LGBTQ+ identities were more accepted by mainstream culture, so too did the media reflect this. Independent efforts like 2014's Gone Home featured a lesbian protagonist. Overwatch famously revealed that their poster child Tracer was a lesbian as well. The Witcher 3's main quest had the player character facing down a problem that he couldn't solve with swords or sorcery. The ostracizing one can face when coming out of the closet. Most famously, and recently, The Last of Us 2 star Ellie was an out-and-out lesbian, a major milestone for a AAA title. With this increased visibility came the inevitable backlash of those who wanted gaming to remain a straight male place. Terms like social justice warrior and propaganda were thrown around. The existence of LGBTQ+ characters were reduced, in their eyes, to political pawns. While these arguments were made in bad faith, there is something to be said about shallow representation. Was Tracer written to be a queer character from the beginning, or was she retroactively given this identity in order to feign inclusivity? Echoes of the controversy surrounding the gay Dumbledore phenomenon rang through this entire situation. It all came down to the simple fact that representation is a personal experience, in addition to the greater cultural factors that influence it. Some gay people loved that Soldier 76 was revealed to be gay. Others saw this as an attempt to pander to them without actually writing a gay character to begin with. In the end, as with most things, it's subjective. We could go on forever about what constitutes healthy representation and what is shallow pandering. But the argument would be endless and would never have a winner, because at the end of the day, representation is personal. I adored Kanji in Persona 4 despite the wishy-washy handling of his identity, but I found Soldier 76's backstory to be shallow and reeking of design by committee. I think gaming is in a good place, but it could absolutely be better. Despite the bad faith backlash and homophobic rhetoric online, gaming will continue to be a place that reflects all those who play it. And yes, that includes the entire spectrum of LGBTQ+.